Well, good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Good, I hope. I am fine. Well, let's look at our gold and silver first. Having trouble getting my gold graph up. Silver 93.16. It was 95. Gold 48.4. Oh, 93.54. There we go. It's funny. The steam comes up, but it doesn't refresh. 93.54. It'll be back to 95. And we're into the 48s. We're up to 48.80. We'll be at 5,000 by Friday, I would imagine. 48.40. So see how quickly it sat at 4,000, 4,100, 4,200, and then it booms. And it goes, and now it's 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. It'll be much higher. So what I'm hearing, you have these new globalists who are Europe, Germany, Italy, France, and the UK, and they're all going broke. And their message is, well, we'll have all these wars because we'll make money on the war, even though I don't know how that's possible. And that's really what they're doing. So they're trying to make money. I was listening to a CIA guy, and he said, "Oh, they have wars because they want to sell the defense stuff. They want to sell the missiles and the bombs, and the tanks and the planes. And the only way they can do that is if there's wars. So let's have wars. So the CIA and MI6 and all these do the wars on purpose so they can sell weapons because they think that's how you get out of a depression. Now they're all broke, these countries. Britain's broke, the Euro's broke, Germany's broke, they're all broke. So they're doing the wars to try to get out of being broke by selling the defense weapons, the defense contractors. Probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life. It's impossible for it to work because wars are expensive. Wars are not profit centers. You do not make money having a war selling your weapons. First of all, who are you selling to? Nobody has money and wants to buy weapons because it's expensive. There's no reward. You get your people killed. Whoever came up with this concept is just a moron. So that's what I believe is happening. So that's why this war in the Ukraine won't end. As you can see, Britain talked to Zelensky, Boris Johnson years ago, and now they're trying to keep it MI6. MI6 is bombing Putin. Listening to some of these YouTubes, it's like Trump's now with Putin and Xi, the China and Russia, to try to defeat Europe, is what it seems like. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what it sounds like. So it looks like we're broke. We are broke. Oh, our economy is good. No, it isn't. And our inflation is not 3% because you can't measure it like that. So I get a lot of mixed things. Hi, Nick. Yeah, all was pretty good. Freaking cold out here. Probably the same weather you're getting. I mean, it's just freezing out. It's like 5 below here. I honestly don't know how the Rams in Chicago played. That's why I bet it under because yeah, they're like if it was a warm weather, it would be definitely be an over. But in the cold, I'm walking into the gym and I'm going, I would not. I want to lie. I'm like running in because I'm exposed for 2 minutes. I says I don't know how these guys could possibly play 3.5 hours in it. You've got to be kidding. That would not be me. 93.69, silver's going and gold. So we've had the 10 o'clock drop and now 48.50. So we might hit 49 by the end of class. Um, anyway, so the economy is trash because you're spending more than you have. And to get out of the spend, you're printing money. So if I spend more than I have, I can't get out of my debt. And if the answer is printing money or having wars, you can't get out of the debt that way. You can't get out of the debt without gold. I was asked that question yesterday, how do we get out of it? And the only answer is gold. I mean, a real asset. So what are we going to buy? A bunch of Rolexes or Omegas, or we're going to buy mantle cards? Something is needed to get out of this is gold and silver because you can't print it. Nick, I don't know if we can't really rationalize Seattle winning here, especially with Charbonnet being out. Darnold will throw 2 picks, and McVay's a better coach. Yeah, I don't think Seattle's going to win. I think the Rams winning in the cold weather in Chicago, and Stafford had never won in the cold weather before. The Lions played Green Bay in Chicago before. Did they play them in December when it was cold? I know one of the games was in September always. And then how did he do in those games? He never won them. They lost to the Packers almost every time with Stafford. So what they did by winning in the cold in Chicago gave them hurt. Excuse me. So I agree with you, Nick. I don't see how Seattle wins this game. Again, this is the biggest problem people have dissecting games is, look how good they looked against the Niners. Who they played, the last 2 games they played was against the Niners. And yeah, their defense looked good against the Niners, against Brock Purdy, against a team with no wide receivers. Against the run. Here you're taking Stafford and Puka-Nuka, Devontae Adams, and tight ends. And, I just don't see that you're going to come in and, so, I mean, the free play, I think I made it, was the over. Yeah, your free play is over 47, so it's over 41. If I do play the Rams in 8.5, it'll be in a separate teaser because I don't like playing the total and the game in the same teaser. Obviously, I do in the Super Bowl. I don't have an option, but in this case, I got the Rams winning 27-24. So it's definitely going to be an over. Darnell, can they run on the Rams? Because they're going to have to win. They got to keep the ball out of his hand. You're not going to you'll get a few turnovers by Stafford, but you'll get more from Darnell. The first game they played, he threw 4 picks. The second game they won, and he threw some picks. Yeah, and then New England, Denver. Let's look at the lines here. 93-61, 48-46. We're going, boys. Well, let's look at the weather because I'm right at it. New England at Denver. It's 22, partly cloudy, low wind. But when I get into the meat, it's 15. So you're dealing with 15 and no win, 16, 16, and 16. So it's 16 with a sunny day and no wind. So it's just cold. Well, New England's used to it. At Denver, they're used to it. So I don't know that's going to change anything. I think it'll be the same game as if it was 40 degrees there. Uh, LA at Seattle. Now you would think it would be warmer there. It's really not. It's 38. Slight chance of rain, 3-mile-an-hour winds. 37, slight chance of rain, 3-mile-an-hour winds, 35. And so probably not going to get wind. There's no rain, there's no wind, 35 degrees there. So you would think it would be warmer in Seattle. That shows you how cold it is here. So weather, not too big of a difference. 15 in New England, but probably not too big of a deal. Let's go to our line. So we got New England 5 and 42, and we've got Seattle 2.5, 47.5. So I was at 141.5. I'm going to leave it there. I got 5. And then I've got Seattle still 2.5, 47.5. That hasn't changed. I redid my grades. So I got New England, and I'll read the full grade. 31 offense with the 13 defense. And Denver's, which we can't use, 25 offense with the 21 defense. Here's where you math people have trouble is how do you put Stidham into the equation? How did you put the cold weather in Chicago into the equation or the wind? That's what you can't use with the formulas. You have to really be a critical thinker. You have to think about the games and look at what you're seeing. That's why the formula, I'll just plug it in and it says take this, so I'll just take it. That's just the lazy way out, and it's not accurate because you don't know what numbers are real. Yeah, you can put in points for and points against. Those are real, but not really unless you use the last 5 or 6 games. You're not getting accurate numbers. The first couple of weeks, the team's different. So I'm looking, when I go last 5, I'm looking at what is this team now? That's what I want to see. So LA is now a B team. They score 30 and give up 26. They're probably kind of an over. Their defense is a 26. And Seattle's a 28 with a 14 defense. Again, 2 of the games were against the Niners with no offense. Then I had Carolina, which has no offense. So they had 3 easy games, 3 games against not a great offense. Well, you got a great offense here. You're not holding them to 6 points. Again, it was like 38-37 was the last game played a few weeks ago. I expect very similar to that. The weather shouldn't be an issue. This is the problem with today's NFL. I got a team with a 14 defense, but it's not real because you don't know what it is. There's so many bad teams and so many bad coaches and so many bad GMs and so many bad quarterbacks. You play the Jets, you shut them out. Do I have a great defense? No, they suck. Carolina. You go down the list. Miami, New Orleans. New Orleans got a little bit better. So that's why you're looking for the coach. That's why we're betting Sean McVay and Sean Payton and looking at the quarterbacks, and we bet Mahomes. Andy Reid's not a good coach. He just gets out of the way, right? Mahomes, do what you want. Just make sure we win. Sort of what Brady did. Belichick didn't call any plays. Brady called his own. I don't even know why they had an offensive coordinator there. Matt Patricia was the name I was trying to think of yesterday. The defensive coordinator. Oh, when he was coach of the Lions, he ran them into the ground. They sucked. And then when the new regime took over, the drafts were easy because you didn't have any players on the team anyway. So I think that the Lions have a terrible GM. But Oh, he picked Hutchinson. Well, yeah, with the second pick in the draft, I hope he picked somebody good. Getting Gibbs was a stupid pick because you don't draft a running back in the first 10 picks like that. And getting the receiver was a stupid pick because you could have kept your picks and got the Philadelphia defensive help that you needed. You could have had two players from Philly. You traded it to Philly. They win the Super Bowl. You don't. And you got this Williamson or whatever. So, yeah. And then Penny Sewell was, I don't know. I mean, played at Oregon. I guess he's good. I don't know why you want to play him in right tackle. You should play him in left tackle. A lot of mistakes that they're doing, and Jared Goff's the biggest one. So they're giving him credit for drafting guys in the first 10 picks, which are automatics. If you fuck up the first 10, now Miami did when they took Tagliavua. We know Ryan Leaf, how good that pick was. But generally, like now, if I'm GM, my first pick, Ruben Bain, Miami. It's not even close. I don't care if I need a quarterback. I know I need a defensive tackle who dominates. It's called Joe Green. Yeah, how did that work out? So you always want to take the stud defensive tackles. You can't run, you can't pass with them. And then the quarterback, you just run a lot more and short passes. You don't need, if you can get Joe Montana in the third round, by the way. Tom Brady came in the seventh round. So, yeah, these guys are idiots. They're looking at the wrong thing. There's a commercial where this guy is on his Microsoft pad or whatever, and I need a guy who's runs under 4'6", and he's this and he's that, and he eats Chinese food and whatever. And it came out with one guy. And that's the problem. They're looking at analytics to pick their guys instead of that. So imagine in the quarterback, well, he runs real fast. He can throw far. Yeah, but he's terrible. Let's look at Uglia Buglia. Well, he's a big guy. He probably can run good, but he sucks as a quarterback. Anyway, but just if you're using analytics, that's the problem. So, again, the Rams with the 30 and a 26 there'll be points. Seattle, Darnold, he's a choke. I don't see how he doesn't choke. He would have choked last week, but they didn't give him the opportunity. There was a lot of turnovers, and then the defense did dominate, but there was no offense from San Francisco. Incredibly bad getting rid of Deebo Samuel and not replacing him. And then Kittle gets hurt. So you basically had no receivers. So, of course, you key on McCaffrey, which is what they did. And Purdy's good, but, there's nothing he could do. And their defense was beaten up. So it makes Seattle look better than they are. Probably shouldn't be favored in this game. I would think the Rams, you go to Chicago and you beat that team with a good offense, 20-17. Now, that was because of the cold weather. I can't believe I'm hearing these analysts, these handicappers. Oh, I like the over in the game because there's no wind. Dude, it's 5 degrees out, if that. No, you don't bet the over in that. They seem to think the only thing that mattered was the win. And no, and I tried to explain that the Joe Montana game in Chicago was like 20-0. It was just freezing out. And he hit Jerry Rice on the one, and that was it. And they were just get out of there. And then they won that Super Bowl, I think. Anyway, that's cold weather definitely plays a fact. Now, we don't really have it too bad. A little bit in Denver, it's cold, 15 degrees, but I don't know if that's going to be harmful or not. So I don't know. Looking at New England, 5-41.5. Very hard to be a road favorite in a playoff game with a quarterback that's played nobody all year. They won at Buffalo as a dog. They lost to Buffalo as the favorite, and then they won at Baltimore as the dog. For them to be a road favorite in a championship game with this quarterback who's never played, he had a couple of turnovers against Houston. Denver's going to watch that Houston film, probably do a similar thing. What did we have there? We had 28. We got a 44 with C.J. Stroud. So the question is Is our guy Stidham better than CJ Stroud? Absolutely. How could he not be better? I mean, even if he's even. So you can score on New England. New England's a pretty good offensive team. So I think New England, I think we're in the 20s here. We don't need that. It's 41.5. We need 35.5. Again, it's too low. They're miscalculating Stidham. So I think I found my pick. All right. Now, do we take Denver +1 or New England or Denver or New England +1 or Denver +11? Good question. Stidham. It's an unknown, and this is the problem. It's like getting a new quarterback. You don't know. He hasn't played. We have no data on him. I put in my description yesterday his 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions at Auburn. He's played a few games in the NFL, so it's not like he's a rookie. He's been in there like 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20. He's been there 7 years, played about 7 games, but he has acclimated to the league. So it's not going to be like, oh, his first time out there. It's his first game. He's nervous. No, he won't be nervous. He'll look at the opportunity to showcase himself. But you're dealing with Sean Payton. He's an outstanding coach. He made Drew Brees. Excellent coach. So he'll have a few cards up his sleeve. Denver does have a good defense. It's a 21 defense. New England's got a 13, but again, in the playoffs, they beat San Diego 16-3. I mean, what can you say there? And then last week was 28-16. Houston scored 16 on them. So they played some defensive teams. Here's kind of another one. So New England got 28-16. So I think New England is in the 20s. I think Denver is probably going to score 20 points. These late season comebacks, like against the Giants and Kansas City, I think they're just going to ball control if they can, New England, which I don't think they can do. They're going to have to throw. Avocado. They're going to have to throw to beat them. They're not going to just run it down their throat. They really don't. They said that maybe J.K. Dobbins will be back, maybe. But what you miss here is Bo Nix running, right? He goes back to pass, and then that big key third down he made when he avoided the one guy and got the 5 yards. And he was healthy at that point. Really, I watched that play. He got hurt on. I didn't see. He just went and threw the ball, and it was pass interference. They cut away, but he planted. I didn't see anybody hit him or roll on him or anything. But maybe it's the plant, or maybe after they hit him. I don't know. Prophet, good morning. You're doing okay with your goal at 48.50 now? We'll be at 5,000 by Friday, I would imagine. And so, like, that's your job, Prophet. Your job is just strictly watching your goals, polishing your goal. I mean, that's it. So, are you going to be a central bank, or are you just going to be a Canadian bank? Anyway, so that's the key to it. Can you run on New England? Now they lost to Buffalo and then they beat Baltimore. Both aren't really running team. Well, Derrick Henry, but basically, that's where the schedule is hard. They did lose to Oakland in week 1 somehow. But again, they're playing the Jets and they're playing Miami and they're dominating. And then San Diego is at home. So they're winning these games at home against kind of weaker teams. it's different playing at home with the crowd and then going on the road and let the other crowd give it to you. Um, New England, Denver's got the advantage of the quiet home crowd when they're on offense. Stidham, I don't think will be terrible. He's not the normal, like if the Lions, if Golf, who's terrible anyway, was not playing, they went to Hendon Hooker, that would be an improvement. But if they went to whoever, Josh Allen or whoever, what was the guy's name? Brendan Allen. I swear every backup's name is Allen in the league. That would have been difficult. They wouldn't have been able to get a first down. So here, knowing Stidham started at Auburn and knowing he's been under Sean Payton for 2 years and knowing that Bo Nix is out the whole week, I don't know if he a winner or not, but I think they will play New England a good game. So maybe Denver and 11.5 is probably too much. You really think New England's going to go in there and just kill Denver? You're out of your mind. There's no way that they're going to go in and beat Denver by 20 points. I mean, shit, they only beat Houston 28-16 at home, and that was C.J. Stroud and all the turnovers. Stidham, I don't know if he turns it over, maybe one or two, but so will Drake May. He struggled last week also. And again, they got a pick six, so they really was 21-16. How much do you need? One of your bars would be fine. There is talk that Knicks could be back for the Super Bowl if Denver wins on Sunday. Well, does he have a broken ankle or does he not have a broken ankle? If you break your ankle, you're not coming back in 2 weeks. So what is it? He did surgery on it, but again, sometimes it's microscopic surgery. Like you scrape your knee, they scrape your knee out. I don't know how serious it is, but maybe that would be nice. I think it would be Denver and the Rams would be my guess. If he was healthy, it'd be Denver against the Rams. And you'd have Denver as a 3-point favorite. And we'd be betting New England isn't getting 9. That's what we would have preferred. But you're making Denver plus 11. That's plus 5, plus 11. You got to be crazy. So we like both dogs. We like both overs. Free play is the over in the Ram game, 41.5. Teaser trends: New England 18-1 the teaser, Denver 17-1. Denver 33-3 over 2 years, 17-1 at home. Now, yes, that's Bo Nix, so it's an asterisk. They are, but how much does Bo Nix versus Stidham matter? I don't think that much, but we'll see. New England's just 18-1. Cold, 15 degrees there. We got Stafford. We got the Rams, 15-4 in a teaser, 31-7, 46-10 over 3 years because we've had Stafford and we've had McVay. 35 degrees there. They're 6-1 as a road dog and 12-3 as a road dog if we go back 3 years. So they're a pretty live road dog. They covered as a road dog at Seattle. I think they were the road dog there, although I had the game over, I believe. Seattle is 15-3 this year in a teaser. Not a great home team in a teaser. And we can only go 1 year because Darnold is there and we got a new coach. Pretty good defensive coach, I think. Again, it was a bullshit call to beat the Rams the first time. So the Rams kind of beat them 21-19 and then 38-37 or whatever without the 2-point conversion. It must be a hairline fracture. I'm surprised then he's not playing if it's not terrible. He took the knee at the end of the game. He had already broke it or whatever had happened. And again, so if it's just a hairline fracture, I'm surprised he's not playing here. Maybe he's the emergency quarterback. I don't know. I thought he broke it and, then you're on crutches for 13 weeks. So that's really it. It's a pretty strong defense for New England. Again, they played the Jets twice, Miami twice, teams without good offenses. The team with the offense, Buffalo 35-31, and the other game was like 30-27. So when they played a real offense, they're not all that. And that's the skew part of trying to analyze pro football now is there's really good teams and there's really shit teams. And that's what I tried, with the what was it? The Rams played the Lions, and they had played Seattle, and they gave up 35 in each game or 40. So it skews their defense. Is their defense that good? Against Chicago, in a normal day, they had given up 35 points. They gave up 31 to Carolina. So this is definitely 27-24 is probably conservative, but it gets us over 41, and that's the key to it. But I think the Rams are a live dog. Absolutely. You got the better quarterback, the better coach. And the defense goes to Seattle. I think the Rams were playing good defense, but they were playing shit teams. So this last 5 or last 6 is just gold because it shows you what they do. And then you still got to read it like, oh, wait, but they played these teams. New England, Denver, the spread's way too. You're saying Stidham is like, CJ Stroud. You're saying Stidham is worse than CJ Stroud. I'm not sure that's true. CJ Stroud's terrible. He's up there with Fields. All these Ohio State quarterbacks and these Alabama quarterbacks are terrible because they play in a system that doesn't work in the pros, right? It's a college system. They do good in it. But when you put them in your system, if you're not running the Ohio State or Alabama offense, they're not going to do good in it. So that's kind of what you have there. Are they, it would have been Denver -3. It's New England -3. They're -5. Are they really going to win by more than 10? And I don't see that. Now, I'm trying to be, Drake May. I don't know. Oh, he's the franchise quarterback. Bullshit. Based on what? I'm sorry. What are you basing that on? And that's the whole point. He hasn't proven anything. It's his first year. I think it's his first year. It's his second year. Oh, whatever. The Vrabel, they're gonna play. They've been playing good defense, but they'll get points. I mean, you can't look at the San Diego game. You got to look at the Houston game. Houston did score 16 on them. So I don't know. And Denver brings a defense. I think Sean Payton's smart. He'll figure out a way to keep them in the game. He'll figure out a way to get Stidham into the game with easy passes. He'll know what New England's, what do I stay away from when they're on defense, and what'll work on my team. That's why you bet Sean Payton. He'll know he beat Kansas City with Mahomes, right? So he'll to move on that team. Now you had Bo Nix, but I don't really think. I think this is the type of thing. Look at New Orleans. They had Rattler, who sucked. I never thought he was any good. And he had Kellen Moore as the coach, and then all of a sudden he brings in the new guy, whatchamacallit, from Louisville. I can't think of his name right now. And what is it? Tyler Shaw. And they bring in Tyler Shaw, and they win. They were very competitive. I thought they did a good job, but he was new. Stidham's not new. He's not a rookie that's never seen the game. So I think he's better than you think, or Sean Payton wouldn't have him there. That's the thing. It's like the Lions. They have so many injuries, and they have all these guys working at the grocery store playing in their defense. And, they play pretty well. even though they're lousy players. So I think this is where you go to the coach. I think Sean Payton will they're not going to get blown out at home. If Red Miller could beat Oakland, they can win. It's the high altitude and it's going to be a little cold. It won't bother New England the cold because they played in the cold last week. They were playing in well, maybe it was like 30 degrees. Yeah, it wasn't that cold, but it won't bother them. So if we go to the Super Bowl, I think LA's in the Super Bowl. And I think without Bo Nix, it's going to be New England. With Bo Nix, it would have been Denver. It would have been Denver, LA would have been the Super Bowl, which would have been a great Super Bowl, high scoring one for sure. Here, I think with Stidham, it's New England wins it by this much. John, do my Jimmy the Greek by this much. He used to do that. He'd come on the pregame on CBS, and he was the handicapper, and he'd come on and he'd go through the games. And well, the Raiders have the team speed, and they're playing, Cincinnati, and they're going to win by this. Like the spread was 7, and he couldn't talk spread, so he'd go, they're going to win by this much. In other words, bet the underdog. Oh, good old Jimmy the Greek. What a character. Profit. I can get Denver plus 11.5. Denver over 36. The Rams plus 7. Why the Rams plus 7? They're 2-point dogs. You should get Rams an 8. And the Rams over is a 6.14 teaser. 100 to win 260. Well, those are better odds than you're dicking around with your 7-point teaser. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get the Rams. Why are you so low on the Rams in 7? I mean, I got Seattle minus 2.5. Let's refresh. Yeah, 2.5. You're getting a bad line there. You should have 8.5 with the Rams. Let's go to scores and odds. This is with what? FanDuel? Yeah, it's 2.5 here. So you're getting a bad line. Let's go into details. Yeah, it's 2.5 at FanDuel. Why only 7? You sure that about that 7? Well, it's sorry, but it's not a choice. Yeah, it's 2.5 everywhere. That's bullshit. Then you got to make the line 1. But that's bullshit. Total 47.5. I got New England 5.5. There's a 4.5, 5.5. 4.5, 5.5. Okay. Yeah, 4.5. There's some 5s. There's some 4.5s, 5s, and 5.5s on Denver, and total 42s. So it's about a 42. So you're able to get 36. So you're getting, yeah, the Denver line should be 36. 11 and a half is good. And the Rams should be more than 7. And the 40 and a half is actually, you should be 41 and a half. They have Seattle at +5 right now as part of a 6-point teaser. No, that's not right. You take the line, you add 6. Seattle is not a -1. They're 2.5, so they're fucking around with you. Now, I wouldn't be concerned. I'd still take the Rams and the 7, but you should be 8. If it lands on 7, you're going to be fucked. Well, no, that's not right. They're fucking around with the teaser. So the overs are good. The Denver should be good. That's the only concern. The Denver with Stridham, but I don't think that's. I think once they get into the game, he'll throw a few touchdowns, and the Rams, I think, will win it. So I think the Rams win outright. Now, I've never made a money line bet in my life in football, only in baseball or hockey where you don't have a choice, but very few. But I wouldn't. So I'd rather tease it. I'd rather tease the Rams getting 8.5 than money line the Rams. I don't know that your odds are better, but we'll see. So is Drake May all that? Okay, you've won at home. Now you're on the road. The Lions did this a couple years ago. Somebody says that those were big wins, beating Tampa and the Rams at home. Jared Goff's won big games. No, Jared Goff has not won big games. The big game he needed to win was the Niners. And then, he's never been in the Super Bowl. In college, he lost the Pac-10 championship game at Utah by throwing 5 turnovers. The guy really likes throwing like 5 interceptions. He must have like a mental problem, and he throws one, he unfolds. He's not a money player, as we call it, right? Money player, Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, money players, not Jared Goff. So we'll see about Drake May if he's a money. Darnell, we've seen, is not a money player. Stafford is. Stidham, we don't know. He could be a money player. That's the problem. You don't know what he is. I think he'll be good in this moment. I think he'll know what to do, and Sean Payton will take care of him. That's where you're glad you have Sean Payton, and that's why the coach is such a critical thing. Vrabel, I don't know how they're going to handle Drake May. He's a defensive guy. That was his problem. I'm just shocked Tennessee let him go. I mean, but he didn't really do anything at Tennessee, so I'm really wondering how good Vrabel is. So anyway, Denver in a field goal game, and it goes over, and the Rams win straight out, and it definitely goes over. Weather's not too bad there, but in Denver we'll keep an eye on it. But 15 with no wind should be okay. New England's a cold team. Denver, they're at Denver. That can't be a problem. It is funny when you see them a couple of weeks ago. They were playing like 60 degrees in Denver. I think the Buffalo game was very warm, I believe. So anyway, will they get Hopkins, J.K. Dobbins back? Is he coming back for the game? I don't know. It doesn't matter. If he does, great. More potential scoring. Here's why you bet Sean Payton. You'll see right now. So I don't know. I don't know if Denver can win with Stidham. It's the Rams against whoever can pass the ball better will win this game. But Denver's defense has disappeared since the Giant game. So New England should be able to score on them. So we'll see what Stidham can do. I'm looking at Buffalo 33-30. You're not going to see that because I don't think Denver can score as much. A little bit cold weather. We will see. Enough of my cucumber. I got to go to the grocery store and get more pita bread. I was watching some guy today, and he stole my whole thesis on the Titanic. Well, you got to get, but he didn't know what he was doing. He just had heard it and was using it. And he mentioned something of the lifeboat, but he couldn't really explain it. And he couldn't explain the gold and silver. I was pretty pissed. Uh, stealing my thesis is not, that's just terrible. I had an interview this morning, and I just kind of laughed at it. Like, I'm kind of retired. I'll humor you by interviewing. And the guy was talking about this one stream versus S base. And I basically said, well, if I was there, I would go to S base. It's just a much better program. It's an add-on into Excel. So you got the data in the general ledger in SAP. The ledger is just all your spend and all the different accounts and cost centers. And so you kind of put it into a general ledger, much like blockchain. They oh, it's a blockchain ledger. Like they think it's a new thing. It's a general ledger is not a new thing. And so we start talking. Do you know how to like develop it? And I said, no, I know how to use it. I'm not a developer. I'm not. And I can use computers very well, and I can learn very well. But to develop it, I says, you'll never find anybody, and I don't think it's any good. I would use S-Base. And the guy's like, well, yeah, we'll see if there's anything else. And I'm basically saying, fuck off. I didn't say that, but it was like, you're never going to find anybody to do it because nobody uses this system. And if nobody uses the system, how in the hell where do you think you're going to find somebody to do this? So he didn't like that. I said, well, I would use S-Base. Well, that's what I would do if it was my company. Why make it harder? Right. Anyway, so that's it again. Miami wins. Or Indy beats Miami 27-21. We nailed the score. I got to think of the New England game. I think we're going to get a game in the 20s, maybe 27-24, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think Denver will score. They might score defensively, but I think they will score with Stidham. I think he'll throw a couple of touchdowns, at least one, or run one in. I don't know if he's a running quarterback. I don't think he was. We'll see if J.K. Dobbins comes back. All right. Anything else on this? Yeah, Prophet, you got a bad line. It's 2.5, right? It's 2.5 all day, and you should be getting 8.5. It's just add 6 to it. You can't change the line because it's a teaser. What kind of crap is that? All right. Let's see what Egon says.
With buying gold for wealth preservation purposes for ourselves and for the investors that we advised at the beginning of the century. And we bought a lot of gold around 2000, 2002 at about $300. At the time, I said to our investors that you should really have at least 50% of your financial assets in physical gold outside the banking system. And that's what we created at the time, the best system for buying and preserving gold outside the banking system in the right jurisdiction like Switzerland or also Singapore. We started with buying gold for wealth preservation purposes for ourselves and for the investors that we advised at the beginning of the century. And
He's repeating. So this is the one I was watching. So this idiot here. When do I sell my gold and silver? So I just want to play that my Titanic part.
For everyone on the Titanic, it was and that as a storeholder of wealth
Do not
is
listen
not
to this
being
guy.
held by central banks in the same way. And he went on to say the biggest market to move last year was the gold market. Yeah, it was up 65%. I think the NASDAQ was up 20 or something. So the message, this is the way Ray Dalio is thinking. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that we are on the Titanic right now. That's the analogy. And if you have gold and silver, you've got you've got safety, right? You've got the lifeboat. The gold lifeboat is a little bit more luxurious. The silver is a little bit plainer. So if you knew the Titanic was going to sink, right, would you get rid of the lifeboats? I wouldn't.
All right, that's about all I can stomach. Here's my comment. Sounds like the Teaserking's video. You're stealing my examples. Ray Dalio, laugh out loud. What the fuck is this guy doing? He couldn't even say it right. He couldn't even explain why you're on the lifeboat or that the Titanic's sinking or what caused it to sink or that. But it pissed me off. I don't like when they use my examples and they don't. Hey, you know, the Teaserking, he uses Ray Dalio, but he doesn't say mine. That pisses me off. Here's one on Singapore.
Sharp slowdown from before when orders. Physical silver is getting harder to find in Singapore. Silver dealers are scrambling to secure stock as prices surge to record highs, with wait lists stretching months and investors rushing into the white metal. But even as silver prices soar, economists say the impact on consumers is likely to be limited, at least for now. Noah Kong with more.
Silver posted an exceptionally strong rally in 2025, soaring 161% to record highs and outperforming most precious metals, including gold. Analysts say the surge was fueled by strong industrial demand and a global supply shortage. Investors jumped on that rally, buying silver bullion in recent months. That surge in demand is being felt on the ground. One bullion dealer says sales of gold and silver jumped nearly sixfold from November to December, as customers rushed to lock in purchases amid rising prices. He's also seeing a shift in who's buying. Once dominated by mostly local and middle-aged customers, his heartland shop is seeing younger buyers in their 20s and even foreigners snapping up silver bullion. That's partly because larger dealers are running low on stock, pushing buyers to look elsewhere.
So what is this saying? It's telling you how strong demand is. That's the point of this. Demand is huge. So I was asked the other day about $100 silver. Well, in Singapore, it's through the roof. There's long lines and people are buying it for fear there isn't going to be any left because it's very limited. So it's already out there. It's already, the frenzy's already happening in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in certain countries, probably Switzerland too. You're just not going to hear about it here in the news. We're all buying Bitcoin like a bunch of idiots. All right. Not us. So here's something. Mark Carney is a central banker in London or Canada. He's Canada's prime minister. He's the central banker. How the fuck's this guy the prime minister?
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello. There is a massive irony rippling through the magosphere right now.
Many are fixated on Mark Carney's New World Order speech in China, as if it's the unveiling of a terrifying master plan.
As you mentioned, mine is the first visit of a Canadian Prime Minister to China in nearly a decade. The world has changed much since that last visit, and I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
But they're missing the point. Carney isn't announcing a new empire. He's admitting the old one is dead. The global elites are scrambling because they actually don't have a New World Order 2.0 to replace the old one. All they can do is panic over the chaos the president is creating. That's their new narrative, and the New York Times even devoted a massive amount of editorial space to this exact point just a few days ago. But if you listen to Donald Trump, he's very clear that he is doing the exact opposite. All of the previous administration's addictions to regime change and instability. With Delcy Rodriguez and the remnants of the Maduro regime, and not with Machado, who has the support of the Venezuelan people.
Well, if you ever remember a place called Iraq where everybody was fired, every single person, the police, the generals, everybody was fired, and they ended up being ISIS. Instead of just getting down to business, they ended up being ISIS. So
Venezuela, where the president isn't playing by the rules of the post-war order. This week, the neocons were caught flat-footed when the president did not launch a military strike on Iran. No regime change today. I'm Susan Kokinda. I've tracked the imperial great game for decades, and what most people accept as the norms of foreign policy, I've exposed as the tools of the modern-day British.
See, I'm not sure who this is. Promethean Action is some group, some government group. So I'm a little leery when she says it. So I'm not sure. But she's like, it's Trump and the Russia and China against the West in Europe, like UK and Germany and Macron and France and these people. So that's kind of what she's doing, but I don't trust her. I looked. I'm not sure what it is. We know that the New World Order is like Hitler. It's fascist. It's total control and everything. The digital currency and all that shit. So I don't know. They know the dollar's collapsed, but I like BRICS has gone to gold. So I'm not sure what to do with this woman, if she's real or fake. Let's see. So again, you can't fuck with gold. It's the only thing. Senior what? I could move it to a 7-point teaser, but the payback. No, I wouldn't move it. I'd just find another place that gives teasers. But it's a good 4-point teaser, but I don't buy it should be 8.5. What does a 7-point teaser give you? 9.5? You can't make up your own lines and the lines -3, you add 6 to it, you get 9. You can't say, well, if you add 6 to it, you only get 7. Well, then it's not a 6-point teaser. It's a 4.5-point teaser. So you're getting fucked on it. So I don't know. I wouldn't, if you have to, I would keep it as the teaser you told me, but you are getting fucked on the Rams. Everything else is fine. Like this one is on stupid people. We like talking about stupid people.
Do you want free internet forever? You got it. We're offering free fiber power internet when you
just watch someone incompetent get promoted. Again, they're terrible at their job. Everyone knows it. They've made costly mistakes, failed repeatedly, created problems that others had to fix. But they're now your boss. Meanwhile, the person who actually keeps the department running, still in the same position, overlooked, undervalued, invisible. And you're thinking, how does this keep happening? Niccolo Machiavelli asked this question 500 years ago, and what he discovered will disturb you. Stupid people don't accidentally end up running things. The system is designed to put them there, not because there's a conspiracy, because of how power structures naturally evolve. Machiavelli watched it happen in Renaissance Italy. Incompetent nobles inherited power. Foolish generals lost battles. Corrupt officials destroyed cities. While brilliant strategists, capable administrators, and wise advisors remained powerless or got executed for being too smart. He realized this isn't random, it's pattern. And the pattern reveals that stupidity is actually an advantage in power acquisition, not a bug, a feature. He wrote in The Prince, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Translation: in power games, appearing competent matters more than being competent. And stupid people are better at appearing competent because they don't know enough to doubt themselves. Today, I'm going to show you Machiavelli's complete analysis of why stupid people run the world. Not to depress you, to arm you with understanding. Because once you see the mechanisms that elevate stupidity, you can navigate around them, or at least stop being confused by them. This is why stupid people run the world, and why they always have. Let's begin. Stupid people speak with absolute confidence because they don't understand complexity. Smart people speak with nuance because they do. And crowds follow confidence, not accuracy. Think about the last time you watched a debate. The intelligent person says, "This issue has multiple factors to consider. Historical context suggests A, but emerging data indicates B, and we should account for C before deciding." The stupid person says, "The answer is obvious. We do X." Anyone who disagrees is an idiot. Who won the debate? The stupid person, every time. Not because their answer was correct, because their certainty was psychologically satisfying. Machiavelli observed this constantly in Florence. Politicians who admitted complexity got dismissed as weak or indecisive. Politicians who offered simplistic solutions got elected, even when those solutions failed catastrophically. Why? Because human brains use shortcuts to evaluate leaders. We evolved in environments where decisive action was often more valuable than perfect analysis. The leader who said, "Run from the tiger now," saved more lives than the leader who said, "Let's consider whether this predator poses genuine threat."
So this is part of the problem we have when we're trying to explain gold and silver to friends and family and strangers, and because we know it's the perfect thing, right? It's the lifeboat on the Titanic because it's limited. You can't print it. It's going up, and you can see how much it's going up in value. And therefore, what you're seeing is, Jesus, all these spam calls. What you're seeing is people not understanding, but they think they do. Oh, I'm in the stock market and I got $500,000, so I'm fine. And they don't question it, but they're confident in it. As he's saying, "Well, I got money in the stocks." I run into that with Luke a lot, where he wants to buy these gold miner stocks and silver stocks. And I say, you're making something out of nothing. You should be in gold and silver, physical, and that's it. I am 99% in gold and silver. I have nothing in the bank, but when I get my Social Security check and I pay my bills with it, and that's it. And I have nothing. I got my baseball cards, but that's, to me, part of my portfolio. But I don't even think about it like that. And I don't look for anything else. There's nothing else to look for. We've got the golden. What's the term? We've got the golden goose. Why would you fuck around with that? So, but the people who are idiots go, "Well, I've got my money in stocks and I'm doing well," or Bitcoin. I got my money in Bitcoin and it's worth 100,000, so therefore it's good. It's not real. Well, they don't want to hear the answers or the explanation why it's phony. They just see the 100,000. I looked at it yesterday, just checking the price was like 90,000. So they just look at Well, it's worth 90,000, and that's all they look at. And then you see gold. Well, gold's only 3,000. Well, now gold's 4,000. Now gold's 4,800, and it's slowly rising. But you can't get them out of Bitcoin. They won't. They won't go out of Bit. It's all. But Bitcoin's going to 1,000,000, and then and Trump's going to do this and that, and they just don't. They just don't understand it. So with that, this is the problem we have, because they're comfortable with their stock being worth $100,000, $200,000, or their Bitcoin that they, of course, got for 52 cents because they bought it early and never sold it when it hit 10 grand. These people are so, no, you didn't buy it. If you're stupid enough to buy it at $2 and not sell it at 10 grand, I can't help you. Profit. I don't know what senior means. They've skewed the teaser line in favor of Seattle, which tells me they don't want you on the ramp. No, they just don't want to give. They're trying to steal and only give 7 because that's a big number. So they don't want to give you 7.5. It's totally wrong. You're playing a 6-point teaser. The line's 2.5. Is the regular line 2.5? I just saw 6 casinos where the regular line was 2.5. You're supposed to add 6 and get 8.5. I mean, it's simple. Yeah, they don't want to go over 7 because that's a key number, like going under 3. So a lot of these places are scamming everybody when it's an 8-point. They're laying 8, and you go to tease it under 2, and you got to take 3. It's all bullshit. It's all crooked as shit. The 7-point teaser pays 100 to win 200. Versus 260. Well, that's a lot to lose. I mean, that's 2 to 1. You're at 260 to 1. Yes, the regular line. Right. So it should be 8.5 because you're adding 6, not 4.5. They're saying you only get to add 4.5. So your odds really are fucked. I don't know, a 7-point teaser. What do you get? 9.5 9.5 with it. I don't know. I don't know if you're going to need more than 7 with the Rams. I doubt it. If you need more than 7, you're probably in trouble with the 9.5, but I don't see that happening. I see the Rams probably winning, or, field goal at the end, like the Bear game. So I don't know, but just like they picked Caleb 3 times, especially in overtime, they'll pick Darnold 3 times. Rams have a good defense. But when they play these better teams, the Lions, even Seattle, Carolina, they're giving up 30 points, so their defense is kind of weak. So the main play is the over. Yeah, I mean, whatever you can get. But anyway, so this is the problem with idiots. They emotionally, Warren Buffett doesn't own gold. He's in the stocks. So you do what Warren does. Warren's an idiot, but besides that. So you sit there with your, I'll be in the stock. Oh, everybody's in Amazon and Apple. I'll be in Amazon and Apple. Why? Well, because everybody's in it. Same thing with Bitcoin. I'm in it because everybody's in it, even though it's not real and gold's going to the moon. You can buy a lot more gold. If I had 100,000, I get 1 Bitcoin, or 90,000. But look at all the gold and silver I can get. And then it keeps going up and up and up. So now I'm going to make more money on it. So that's why we asked the question. But as I showed you with this lady, I don't know if I can trust her. I don't know who she is. I don't know anything about it. So I'm sitting there questioning. I don't think Trump's a very smart guy. And now you're trying to tell me he is, where it's almost like you're pro-Trump. And now you're not telling me the truth. You're telling me to make Trump look good. And I don't know. I don't buy that. I don't want to hear that. The problem is, if the Rams lose by 7, the teaser is refunded, even if the 3 other plays win. Yeah, see, that's bullshit. Especially if they lose by 7 and you would have won getting 8.5. That's the problem you have. I think you'll still win. I don't think the Rams lose by 7, especially with all these 2-point conversions and crap. They could lose by 5 or 4. I think 7's a good number, but It's a 6-point teaser. I want 6 added to my 2.5. Anyway, I wouldn't do. Well, I would look for another book that gives me honest teasers. Gives me 6. 2.5 plus 6 is 8.5. Thank you very much. Even if the other 3 ones, that's bullshit. Again, they're trying to, not be honest. I told them in the interview, I said the same thing. I said I was supposed to be hired at Tenneco, and they, after 4 months, they closed the position. We have to eliminate the position. Well, you're supposed to hire me. What the fuck's going on? So anyway, yeah, getting the truth out, it's tough. But anyway, so that's what this is like. This whole people thinking they know because it feels right emotionally. That's the problem. Like people, well, I'll eat Cheerio for you. Cereal's terrible. Yogurt's terrible. Well, it tastes good. And one doctor said it's eating yogurt's okay. Or I have Cheerios, it's okay. And it's not. No, you can't have cereal and bread. All the carbs are bad for you. That's how you get all these problems. A lot of sugar, a lot of high blood pressure, cancer. So no, cereal and yogurt's not good for you. Do what I do. Have an avocado, as I show you when I eat it. And a lot of water and tea, and be careful on your sugars. And that's really the problem. Let's look a little more of this.
But that evolutionary shortcut fails in modern complexity. Simple problems reward simple thinking. Complex problems punish it. Yet we still follow the confident voice, because confidence feels like competence. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect before psychologists gave it a name. The less you know, the more certain you feel. The more you know, the more aware you become of what you don't know. Stupid people don't experience the doubt that comes with understanding complexity. So they speak.
You want to have a wait list of dream clients? Having worked as a psychotherapist and coach for over 20 years, if I could...
Fuck off.
Certainty that smart people can't genuinely feel, and that certainty wins. Repeatedly. Predictably. Think about your workplace smart colleague. We should test this approach because historically projects like this face complications around stupid boss. Just do it. It'll work. I'm confident. Who gets credited when it somehow works? The stupid boss who projected certainty? Who gets blamed when it fails? The smart colleague who didn't commit fully. Machiavelli would recognize this immediately. He wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, because it belongs to everybody to see you, to few to come in touch with you." Translation: everyone can judge your confidence. Few can judge your competence. So confidence gets rewarded while competence gets overlooked.
So that would be a good question. Why? He's confident, so he must know. Stidham might be confident, but how good is he? Or Drake May or Stafford, I know. Darnold's a choke. So what you're looking at is, why is confidence rewarded or thought so highly of on issues that are very complex, like gold and silver, like what caused the Titanic to sink, everything else, what's causing the banks to die? Well, these people owe on their loans, and they're going to go bankrupt and not pay the banks back. The banks losing money, the bullion banks, on these options when they're shorting them. Well, they're confident, but they're stupid, because why would you short gold and silver now? I just showed you gold and silver in Singapore, and they can't keep any on the shelves. So why would you not? Why would you short that? So that's what you have, is a lot of, that's the question to ask. Why are people confident? What is the point of that? Why do you agree with a confident person, but not an intellectual who says, well, there's several variables. I'm confident on inflation, but I'm going to have to explain it to you. I can't just say that. Well, it's not really 3%. So people might not listen because not that I'm not confident on it, but I have to explain it and they can't. Their concentration is only for about 5 seconds, as we're finding out with all these uh, internet things where people are diverted by commercials interfering with your communication skills too soon you don't have them, or the concentration skills. I can't concentrate for an hour anymore. I do this class every day. We go pretty much an hour and a half to 2 hours, sometimes three. And I don't very, very rarely do I lose my place. Once in a while I'm thinking of a name, but I can concentrate for the whole 3 hours very easily. Because of what I'm talking about, which I love, and then just knowing it. But if you ever are shy to talk in front of a crowd or people, or give a speech, just do this for a little bit. Talking on YouTube is very good at, now I can talk in front of a crowd. If I had to talk in front of a crowd about either of this, not a problem. Before it might have been, a little shy, and you don't even know why you're shy. Oh, you're afraid you're gonna screw up or something, but not here. I never fear that. That's why I like the questions. So a lot of it is, why is confidence over competence, is a good question, but that's the crowd. They're basically idiots. All right, let's check something else here. Here's one on the death of thinking.
Are you looking to establish your business using an address other than your home? Well,
Have you ever been in a conversation with someone who has a strong opinion about everything, but can't explain any of it? They know what they believe, can recite talking points, get emotional defending positions, but ask them why they believe it. Ask them to explain the reasoning. Ask them to consider an alternative perspective. And suddenly, nothing. They get defensive, change the subject, accuse you of overthinking, because they don't actually understand what they believe. They're just repeating what they've absorbed. And here's what should terrify you. This isn't rare anymore. It's normal. We're living through the creation of what Arthur Schopenhauer predicted 200 years ago. A generation that has mistaken information for intelligence, exposure for understanding, and opinion for thought. Schopenhauer wrote, "Buying books would be a good thing if one could also buy the time to read them. But as a rule, the purchase of books is mistaken for the appropriation of their contents. Replace books with content, and you've described our entire generation. We consume endlessly, scroll constantly, absorb information at unprecedented rates, and we're becoming dumber by the day. Not because we lack access to information, we're drowning in it, but because the very systems we built, education, media, technology, social structures, are designed to prevent the one thing that creates intelligence, thinking. Today I'm going to show you exactly how society created the dumbest generation in human history. Not through lack of education, not through censorship, not through overt control, but through something far more insidious, the systematic elimination of the conditions necessary for thought itself. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Schopenhauer saw this coming, why he predicted we'd build systems that destroy intelligence while claiming to cultivate it, and why recognizing this might be the only way to escape it. Let's begin. Have you noticed that nobody reads anymore? Not really. We scan, we skim, we scroll, we see headlines, absorb takes, consume summaries. But actual reading, sustained, focused engagement with complex text has almost disappeared. And Schopenhauer predicted exactly why this would destroy intelligence. He wrote, "When we read, another person thinks for us. We merely repeat his mental process." But he was talking about actual reading, deep, sustained, effortful engagement. What we do now isn't even that. It's worse. We don't repeat someone else's mental process anymore. We just react to fragments, scroll TikTok for an hour. You've seen hundreds of claims, thousands of opinions, endless information. But can you explain any of it? Can you trace the reasoning? Can you engage with the actual arguments? No, because you never process them. You just pass through them, like junk food for the mind. And we scroll through thousands of these per day. Your brain isn't processing, it's being bombarded. And what are we being bombarded with? Ski-bitty toilet. Literally a singing toilet with millions of views. The 6-7 meme where the joke is, there is no joke. It's just chaos. Brain rot content. People proudly consuming deliberately stupid content designed to melt their cognitive capacity. We've made stupidity viral, made meaninglessness entertaining, made intelligence boring. People watch hours of this and then wonder why they can't focus on anything complex. You're not just consuming junk food for the mind. You're consuming cognitive poison, content specifically engineered to make you dumber, and calling it culture. And bombardment isn't learning, it's conditioning. Conditioning you to react instead of think, judge instead of understand, seek brain rot instead of meaning. Find stupidity more engaging than intelligence. High stimulation, zero nutrition. Schopenhauer saw this coming in his own time with newspapers. He watched people consume news voraciously, feel informed, form strong opinions. But when he questioned them, he discovered they'd absorbed nothing. They could repeat what they'd read, but they couldn't think about it. And today, it's infinitely worse. Because at least newspapers required reading complete sentences. Now we get information in 7-second videos, 280 character tweets, headlines designed not to inform, but to trigger, sound bites stripped of all context. And we scroll through thousands of these per day. Your brain isn't processing, it's being bombarded. And bombardment isn't learning, it's conditioning. Conditioning you to react instead of think, judge instead of understand, feel certain instead of curious, seek confirmation instead of truth. Have you felt this in yourself? That moment when you realize you have a strong opinion about something, but you can't actually explain why you believe it? You just absorbed it.
See, that's the big problem. It's like going to a buffet and eating everything. You can't enjoy anything. I'll have a steak, I'll have Chinese, I'll have a chicken, I'll have a salmon, I'll have salad, I'll have soup. And you don't really, what did I have? I don't know. I had everything versus just I had a nice New York strip. I had some, I had some egg rolls. I had a soup. Instead of understanding what you're doing. So they're bombarding you to the point where you can't make a decision because you're getting all this bits and pieces. You're getting bombarded that you don't know when there's a good one coming in and you can't differentiate anything and you can't think about it. You're getting hit, especially on like TikTok, where it's just coming at you. YouTube's a little different. You can be like, here, I can listen to this. But I am smart enough. I make my own critical thinking of everything I see. That's why I'm like, I don't know about that lady with Trump, if she's really with Trump and just saying to make Trump look good, which wouldn't surprise me, or what they are. I don't know. I tried Googling them. I still don't know who they are. There are some government PAC, which immediately I turn off anything government. They're good. They would be independent. So I don't know if she's good, bad, or ugly. I do know, it doesn't surprise me. Britain is creating the war, but I've heard that from the colonel who says that the MI6 keeping the war going, Boris Johnson did. So again, I think you get this with gold and silver a lot. Or Mr. Fuji, the AI guy, tells you 6 different ways from Sunday what's going on. So you don't know what the hell he's talking about. And that's the problem. So You have to learn it for yourself. And then when you hear these opposing, like the guy at the club, when we're talking gold and silver, he says, well, I'll stay in stocks. I said, be careful when the stock market crashes. He says, well, I'll meet you in the soup. And I said, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm not in the stock market. I'm in gold and silver. I know enough where I should be. When I teach you, I try to explain it as I'm teaching you so you learn it. This isn't about me selling anything. It's about me teaching you, and it's about you learning. Why do we buy gold and silver? Well, Dad, we can't go to the grocery store with it. And your answer is, well, we're not going to be able to go with the money. And guess what? The money's worthless, but the gold and silver keeps going up. Why do you incur the grocery store? Why is that the example that people use about gold and silver? You can't go to the grocery store with it. Should I not buy a Picasso because I can't go to the grocery store with the painting? Or my Van Gogh? Now, it's not real, but let's say that was a real Van Gogh. Should I not have it because I can't take it to the grocery store? Or a Mantle card or Montana or Brady? Oh, I can't take them to the grocery store? These are assets that go up in value. You're making money. How about a stock? Can you take the stock to the grocery store? So the whole arguments are just incredibly stupid. You're buying gold and silver as we're watching it go to the moon. It's just taking off now. You're watching that. What does that have to do with the grocery store? It's the stupidest thing. Well, how about betting football? I can't take that to the grocery store. Or playing poker. I can't take that to the. Well, I guess I can. I get money off of it, but that's it. So again, if we really analyze this whole digital thing, we realize it's bullshit. We understand thinking the way we think. When you go to the casino, you need money. You can't use a credit or a debit card when playing poker because they don't trust it's good. So the only thing they trust is you go to the ATM and you take out $300 and you buy the chips with the money and you go through it. That's what they understand. So how are you going to get rid of money? The casinos are very powerful. It's mafia. What are you going to do? Not take it. So I can't see them taking digital currencies and having digital transactions. They don't. That's bullshit. Again, that's the New World Order team of the Russia of England, France, Germany, wanting this New World Order crap that want to track everybody in the totalitarian state, which is just bullshit, right? That's not. We don't want to be tracked. If I go play poker, that's my business. It's not your business. If I go buy gold, it's my business, not your business. I don't like that they try to treat gold and silver as a collectible, and they're gonna tax you as a collect. How is this a collectible? It's not a collectible. I'm buying money. Is this a collectible? When I bought my whiskey, is this a collectible? Not really. Is it an asset? Well, I guess it kind of is, but if I sell it, I'm not going to pay tax on. I bought whiskey, I sold it. That's a bunch of bullshit. If they, I don't know where they think they have the right to tax everything we do that involves we made a few dollars, but when we lose. So if I get this right in sports betting, if I make $100, I'm supposed to pay tax on it. But if I lose $100, I'm not getting bailed out, or I guess I don't have tax on that. So. Excuse me. So this is the problem with a lot of things. Oh, you sold your gold and you made $5. Oh, we want to tax you on it, and we're going to tax you at 50% because it's considered a collectible, and it's in your capital gains. It's all bullshit. If I don't get a 1099 document, I'm not paying tax. If I don't get a W-2, I'm not paying tax. Unless it's my own business, that's a different story. Then, yeah, I mean, if I didn't have any job and I did that. So now we're just watching our gold and silver go up. There's no tax because we haven't sold anything. So therefore, I have an asset that's going up. That's just being smart enough to buy an asset that's going up in value. There's no tax on that. You get taxed at your job because it's income. This isn't really income. The fact that gold and silver go up, it's gold and silver going up. So we will see there, but I don't like that. Anyway, so we understand markets. Markets are what people want, and you're going to sell them a product that they want. As simple as that. Then you get to step two, how much will they pay for it? And that's really what you're looking at. Well, they want Canadian Club, but what will they pay for it? And the more people that want it, you can usually charge more if it's limited. But whiskey, you just make more. My green coat, the North Face, green sweatshirt. I love this color, green. It's just there. They can make more, but we're into the thing that you can't make more, gold and silver. And whatever that is I got to look that up for you. So they're coming out with all these nuclear reactors, nuclear power plants, a lot in China and Russia. And whatever ingredient they need is very, very limited. I don't know if it's lithium. I don't know what it is. I'll check it. But that's your next very, very limited, very much high in supply. The difference is it's for companies, right? It's a power plant. It's for the country. This is for everybody, the gold and silver. It's for industrial use and for people like us who are getting out of the dollar, going into gold and silver. Very, very simple. So that's what we have with it. Otherwise, I don't know. These wars, these people are idiots. They think if they go to war, somehow they'll sell the weapons. So we'll have a war because then people will need weapons and buy them. Do you think these countries have that money just sitting around to buy your weapons? Do you think, the governments are just going to print the money? So do you think the money is any good that you're getting? No. So this whole philosophy of we'll have a war so we can sell our weapons is Sherlock Holmes #2. I mean, it's bullshit. It's not real. You're trying to create a demand. It's like Tesla with his electric car. Elon Musk, there's no demand for electric cars. He's trying to create a demand. And that's what the defense contractors, there's no demand for the weapons unless there's a war, then they need weapons. And you think you think whatever price you sell them at, they're going to take? So let's have wars all over and look at all the weapons we can sell. Are you going to make money on them? Can they afford your price? I doubt it. Not some of these countries. And just because there's a war, are they really? Look at the war we're in. Ukraine's fighting it. Well, let's give Ukraine all the defense. So we'll buy, because they all think if they buy from the defense contractors that they'll come out of bankruptcy, and it never will happen. You have no market. You can't just create a market. This is Say's law. The market comes from the supply, from us. We go to work. We're the market. We want to buy steaks and chicken and tuna. That's what we're doing. However, there is no, you can't just have you can't have a market and then try to get the market to buy it. In other words, you can't try to sell something if there's no market for it. If we don't want Chinese food, you can't make Chinese food. It's as simple as that. So you've got to make something that the people want. We determine what you make because we say, I want chocolate cream pie, you make it. You can't try to sell a chocolate cream pie if nobody wants chocolate cream pie. It's as simple as that. Now I want chocolate cream pie. I keep telling Alyssa, I didn't fast 89 days to now start eating cake and ice cream again. So I've been good boy, not eating that crap. But I'm getting that like sweet tooth feel. Part of the problem is I can't buy my dark chocolate because now I'm demanding that, but the price you're selling it at, like, used to be $2 somethings, now $5.69, and I'm like, I'm not paying that. It's not a fair trade for me. It's too expensive. I'm not going to do it. There's a cocoa shortage, supposedly. Who knows? But I'm not going to buy it until they lower the price. they don't lower the price, I don't buy it. Just it's one that it's hard to substitute, right? Because there's nothing to go to. I can't go to regular chocolate, and so I just eat something else. Anyway, so when they come out and try to force you to buy military weapons, and so only the manufacturer makes money, if he even makes money. What's he going to sell it at? Is there a market there? So if he wants to sell a Tomahawk missile, wants to charge you $100,000 for it, do you have the 100,000 to buy it? Well, we need it. We're at war. Well, is that why you went into war, to buy weapons? I don't think you're at war and you have the money, because nobody has the money. It's all worthless. They're all bankrupt to buy the Tomahawk missiles or the tanks or the planes or the ships or whatever your bazookas, and you need weapons and you need ammunition. That's what the defense contractors make. Is there buyers for that? And at what point, at what price? This whole thing's a mess. This is not why you go to war. You do not develop wars so you can sell the weapons. That is just, that's ridiculous. I know J.P. Morgan sold weapons to both sides in World War One, probably World War II too. I don't believe the British told Hitler what to do or created World War II or told him to go to war to survive. Hitler went to war because he was bankrupt, to steal the gold and silver from the central banks. That's what Hitler did. He went to war because he was broke, to get gold and silver, to steal it. He didn't go to war and they didn't go to make their money back, which they never did. Yeah, they had the gold. That's what did. So they went to war to steal gold. Okay, maybe, but is that what the U.S. is doing in Venezuela, is trying to steal their gold, and Ukraine try to steal their gold and their silver? Is that what they're doing? Maybe, but not to buy missiles and the defense contractor stuff. That'll never get you rich. That'll put you in the poorhouse real quick. So this is a shame that there's all these wars going on. I mean, I don't even feel comfortable flying to Europe because I don't know, is Russia going to nuke Germany? How does Spain look? I wouldn't go to Italy again. Maybe Greece. I don't know. Are they going to nuke? Why are we having these wars? It's the biggest waste of money. One thing I heard too was, since the population's growth is down, that's why they brought in the immigrants, supposedly, was because they needed workers. Well, that's bullshit. An immigrant who doesn't have a master's in finance, in my experience, can possibly do that. Some guy who's uneducated cannot do my job. I don't care what kind of immigrant you have. The Indians who come over from India are a lot of IT guys and some doctor, the smarter guys with the qualifications. That's fine. We do need doctors, and God knows we need IT people. But there's division of labor, means your skill sets. It's based on skill sets, right? If you're a doctor, you can't bring in an immigrant from Vietnam, and he's going to just be a doctor or a lawyer or a finance guy. Some guy who doesn't know 2 and 2 is not coming in from Iran, and he's going to do my job. It can't work that way. They don't know it. So I heard that. I kind of, no, that doesn't make any sense. They're bringing in immigrants to get their votes. And it's really stupid. That whole concept was stupid. When we need workers. Oh, well, I thought you wanted to replace everybody with AI. Or are you just doing AI for my level? The finance and IT people, but the people that shovel the snow, you'll use immigrants for that. I mean, the whole thing these are what idiots do, right? And that's our problem. What else? So we know the dollar is worthless. When will the dollar end? That's a good question. It's when nobody wants it, right? It's when all trust is gone. And right now, I can go to Kroger's and buy food, or I can go to Chinese and get lunch, and I use my dollar on a credit card or a debit card. So we still think it works. It does work. It's the value that's worthless. And when people start putting two and two together, reasoning why all the food at the grocery store is more expensive and going to McDonald's is $15, when they start realizing it's the dollar that's lost its value, then the trust in the government goes, the trust in the dollar goes. As soon as you lose trust, it's gone. So when does that happen? There's no set date. It's when the people get tired of paying these prices, of realizing the dollar's been inflated to death. That's why they call inflation prices and not the dollar being printed. Is so you think, oh, the price is going up. That's the manufacturers raising Campbell's soup. It's not the dollar going down. It's Campbell's soup. It's Coca-Cola. It's Oreos raising their prices, which is just pure bullshit. They need to get more money because the value of the money is worthless. And that's really the key. When does that end? I don't know, but you can see everybody going to gold and silver now, all the BRICS countries. So therefore, that's why you're seeing gold run. BRICS is going to a gold-backed currency. They need a much higher gold price. So they're just crushing COMEX. COMEX, all the bullion banks are going to go out. Toronto Dominion's still shorting gold like idiots. They're probably the ones shorting the silver today, dropping it down $1, but it'll pounce back. Profit. I don't see how Trump can go back to a manufacturing economy at this point. Well, he could. It's the problem is how do you compete with China? And India is becoming manufacturer. So at the end of the day, what happens? You're in a free market, and I'm going to manufacture something, and China's going to manufacture something, and our costs are going to be 100, and China's are 50. So you can't compete with that. That's the problem. So you could manufacture, but nobody's going to manufacture to lose money. I like how Trump says the U.S., how good the U.S. economy, it's the best ever. Now, that's why I have a problem with Trump. That's bullshit. Our economy is in a recession. It's just the way it is. I mean, we might be doing AI. We don't even know if AI is good and people buying it. We're seeing car companies go out. We're seeing nobody can sell cars. How can the economy be good? We see the housing market crash, and we're about to see the stock market crash. But yet, what? Because the stock market's high, the economy is good? Is it because Bitcoin's at 90,000, the economy is good? Or is it that gold's going to hit 5,000 any day now? Does that mean the economy is good? So don't lose your focus. You're buying the gold and silver, and you're not trying to sell it. This is not a profit-taking adventure. Like I say with the Titanic, my version, you're not going to get back on the boat. I love when people use my lines and they don't even know what they're talking. They can't explain it. These are the idiots that we're talking about, right? He hears what I say, Titanic and lifeboat, but he doesn't really understand it. He just heard that I said it. So that's the whole point of it. It's if I profit take my gold and silver, I have to get back into this and so I don't want to sell. Okay, so let's say I sell this at what's it, $95 an ounce. And I go, aha, I bought it at 30, it's 95. Look at how much money I made. Well, the problem is I made this, which is actually worthless for something with a great value. The other problem is when this goes to 500 and I sold it at 95, I'm fucked. Wait a minute. I sold this. I could have made another $400 when it hits 500 an ounce. But even that is not intended to be sold. Now, let's say I have a bill or I want to go on a vacation and I use it for that. Okay. But if I sell it now, that's not the object. The object of this game is not to buy the gold, make some money, and sell it for the money. This isn't a stock. This is about getting out of dollars or euros or Swiss franc or British pound. That's what this is about. Is you have this and it's worthless. We've understood through thinking that this is worthless. What do we get into? Okay, that. So the last thing I want to do is then sell this to get back into this, even though, well, I made, $1,000 on this, but why do I want to put it back into this? It makes no sense. I don't. So this is really where the problem is. This is not something to be sold. This is not a stock. This is real and it's physical, and you see what it is and you put it in your safe and you're a happy camper. So it is not a gold thing. It's not like a profit take. This is not a stock. As that Mr. Wonderful guy, not named Paul Orndorff, said from the Shark Tank, it's silver. It just sits there in the ground and it doesn't do anything. I'm sorry, what does stock do? Does it do anything? No. What does this do? Well, this sits where in the bank? It's not even yours. You can't even get it out. What does this do? What does the painting do? What does that do? What does my whiskey do? What is, it's the stupidest. It sounds like the other, I can't take gold and silver to the grocery store thing. Oh, I can't. What am I going to do with my whiskey? Oh, maybe I can drink it, but I don't drink. I got a mantle card. What does that do? It just sits there. I used to have shelves, and I'd put it in the shelves. When I was married, we had shelves, and we'd put the card in the shelf, and it was pretty pretty. So that's the whole point. It's that's one of the stupidest arguments. So if we think about that argument, it's terrible. If we just listen and agree, yeah, he's right. Silver just sits in the ground. It's not worth anything. And that's what people think. So you hear this idiot, or you hear Warren Buffett, that idiot. Well, gold just sits there. It's a paperweight. And then you believe it, then you're an idiot. Because if you thought about it and say, no, I got to get out of the dollar. But they don't tell you the dollar's worthless. In fact, they don't know. Warren Buffett sits there with, I got $20 billion in my home. And when everything drops in price, I'll buy things cheap. Well, guess what? Your dollar is not going to buy anything because it's not worth anything. And that's really what you have to understand. The dollar is worthless, and that's what they don't tell you. So, don't buy gold and silver. Well, no, that's exactly what you buy because it's limited, high demand, and you can't print it. So that's the perfect thing to go into. Well, you've been suppressing it since 1973 or 4 when COMEX opened. So you never see the price jump. Now the Chinese are running it, and you can't suppress it anymore because you got to cover when people actually want delivery of the gold and silver, which is the end, which is why you're starting to see these prices, but they're nowhere near what the real price, which hadn't been suppressed, would be. So if you just took the real price, look at it, went from $35 to $800 in 1970s. That's what happened. And that's my point. That's exactly what happened. John C., hello. They should take Raiders. Raiders are going to take Mendoza. They should take the Indiana coach. Well, yeah, they should take the coach, and they should get Reuben Bain should be the first pick. It's Joe Green all over again, right? Look how good Joe Green. They won how many? 4 Super Bowls. Because once you get Reuben Bain, then you start getting Jack Ham and Jack Lambert. And you start getting Mel Blount, who I think was already on the team, and Mike Wagner, I think, was already on the team. And then you start getting, it's easy to get a Dwight White, L.C. Greenwood around him, but Joe Green was the key. So I would get Ruben Bain, and not because Mendoza's not going to do anything anyway next year, maybe in 5 years. He has no offensive line. He is, Brock Bowers. You got Gentry, but you don't need it's much better to get a stud defensive player, Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor. The Giants won with Phil Simms because they had Lawrence Taylor. In fact, they won with the other guy, whatchamacallit, the guy from West Virginia, Hostetler. They won with Hostetler because they had Lawrence Taylor. So Oakland can win with Geno Smith if they have Lawrence Taylor. And this guy's great, this Ruben guy. So that's what I'd be taking. Anyway, so that's the point. A, you can only sell what the market demands at the price the market demands. B, you're in gold and silver because the dollar is worthless. Because if you overproduce something, the value drops, and the dollar, the values drop to nothing. And then here's bricks with gold-backed currency. Do I want a dollar or gold? Well, we already know we want gold and silver. We've been buying it, so it's very easy to see what we're doing. And that's the point of it, right? So we'll see, but it's not, it's when people talk like that, the idiots just listen. Oh yeah, Mr. Wonderful said that gold and silver are just our paperweights, or Warren Buffett, and therefore I'm not going to buy it. And this is the problem. However, when they come out about Bitcoin, oh, Bitcoin's great, you don't understand why. You don't understand what's so great about it. Well, it's worth $100,000. Why? Well, I can't explain that, because it's a Ponzi scheme, because it's not real. It has no value because it's not even real. Oh, here's a Bitcoin. Look, I got a Bitcoin. It's worth $100,000. I can sell this for $100,000 to some idiot. This is the problem. It's not real. It's not an asset. It's nothing. It's an invisible thing. And people are stupid enough to go with it. That's fine, but it's not backed by anything. It's not real. It's calling it digital, like I say, with a digital steak. Yeah, I'm going to buy a digital steak. Geez, I'm hungry. I'd like to eat it. Well, you can't, because it's not real. So what are you going to do with the Bitcoin? Nobody takes it. See, that's where none of the businesses accept it. You can't go to Kroger's with it. I don't think you can go to the bank with it. If you have it in your account, you can transfer it into your bank, and they'll give you value. I think. I'm not sure. Never been in Bitcoin, and I will be in Bitcoin. As far as these stable coins, I will never buy one unless I'm forced to get my Social Security. And then how am I going to take that to the grocery store? Well, we'll force the grocery store to use it. How are you going to value everything? So I don't buy any of that. I don't see money going away. As I said, the casinos make you use the dollar because you could have a stolen credit or whatever the reason. I got to get 300 of these to buy chips and go play blackjack, poker, craps, roulette, baccarat. Not with my credit card, and it ain't going to be used digitally. You'll never get because they like having the cash, right? So, and the drug dealers will certainly not want digital, where people will know who bought for them. You're going to jail. You bought heroin. What are you talking about? In cash, nobody knows. In digital, yeah, and it's way too powerful, the mafia, to sit there and not take and start not taking dollars and taking digital. Digital is just a bullshit. So again, that's why with Trump, I just don't know what the hell he's talking about. So I don't trust Trump. He's two-faced all over the place. All I can go by is what he said. We got the greatest economy in the history of life. You said that last time you were president. And we have massive inflation, which did not go away. which cannot go away. You have no gold. If you did, you'd show it. So what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, anything else? So your free pick, take the Seattle Ram game over 41.5. I think the Rams in a teaser as the dog are good. I think Denver getting the points should be good. I think Stidham's okay. He just doesn't have the experience, especially playoff experience. New England, good defense, but then you have Drake May who doesn't have experience. Yeah, he barely beat San Diego, and then he put up 21 against a good Houston defense, but I don't know how much was him. He had that one miracle. He does make some good throws to Butte, so I think that goes over, and that's it. So those are your four. New England's just laying 5.5 is just too much. I can't tease them to 0. I don't know how good Stidham is. I think he's decent. I do trust Sean Payton, and they're in Denver. So I can't say Drake May, who's never been to the playoffs before, is just going to go on the road and win. I cannot. Just like I told you, Miami and Indy and Miami on Monday night in college, I said, well, I don't know if it's that cut and dry. Indy's going to win. We had the over in the game, which won. And I thought Miami getting, what was that spread? 7.5, 13.5, I thought was too high. And the game went about as what I thought. I had 30-27, and it was 27-21. So it was pretty close to what I thought it would. You don't score a lot on Miami, and they didn't. They got 27. Mendoza's number one pick. I would take Ruben Bain in a heartbeat over him. Ruben Bain's come along every 10 years. Mendoza, I'm still not. I don't smell what he's cooking. I'm not thinking, oh, this guy's going to be the next Joe Montana or Tom Brady. No, I don't see that. He doesn't look like a winner. It's kind of, I don't know. And again, at Indy, they're very well balanced. They got good running. They got a good offensive line. Pretty good, but they've never really shown that explosive offense that I need for Joe Montana. At Notre Dame, Joe Montana looked like Joe Montana, and he come from behind and win a lot of games. This guy did it once against Penn State based on his interception that gave Penn State the lead. So I don't know what to do with him, but the Ruben Baines, Joe Green, that's who you want to take. And the guys from Texas Tech who are very strong also. So I think that's it. Let's check our gold and silver. Let's see how we are doing. So we're past the 10 o'clock, so it should be back going up. Let's see. I keep missing my chart. It's not loading. It's a slow load with that. I got silver at 93.07. Gold 93.11. All right, gold 48.18. Got knocked down to 48.10, and now starting to move. So the 10 o'clock drop happened. It went back up, and now we're getting this 12 o'clock. We've been getting this 12 o'clock drop lately. But 48.18 again, it was 45, 46, 47, 48. So we're up $57 and silver 93.11. I have no idea what they're thinking to keep it down. It'll just be bought. Do they not want it to go to 100? Well, fuck off. It's going to go to 500. So I'm not buying it. They didn't want it to go to 93. It got to 95. The 95 has been the highest, I think. And that's it. So 48.18 in our gold. So Alyssa like asked me for some money. Oh, can I have $10? And she said, well, it's not a lot of money. And then my response to her was, um, well, but it's also my time. You're paying for you're not paying. I'm giving you my time for free, which is very valuable, and my car and my gas and my wear and tear. So you want $10, and I'm giving you a lot more than 10 between my time and my car, and it's a lot of time to pick you up, take you here, take you home, and then for me to come back. That's a lot of time that you're forcing me to do, and that's the problem. So that's what I try to explain to her when she wants $10, going, it's not a lot of money. Yeah, you're right, but it's still if I give you 10 every time, it turns into a lot of money. Anyway, 93-28. So Silver, they're playing that game. It must have had the 12 o'clock. I'm getting this problem with my chart. Anyway. Just funny how Silver now it's 93-28 headed up. Gold, I can't. It's like really slow loading the ads. I hate these sites. They got to load the ads before they can do anything else. Anyway, I think we saw it at 48, like 30. So again, 5,000 should be here Friday. It just keeps running. And silver's in the 93s. It's in the 90s. It's going to hit 100 soon. Not sure why it's having difficulty. Well, I did jump a lot, but still, that's no reason. Some of these days, it's just very slow. Yeah, so it went down to 92 and change. So it's at 95, goes down to 92.50, and now back to 93.27. So much activity on gold, we can't get it. Anyway, it's gold's up there at 48, figure 48 and a quarter. Anyway, and it's nice. It just keeps going. It blew through the 3,000s. We stopped at 3,700 for a little bit. And once it's blown through 41, 42, it kind of stuck at 41. And then now it's running 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48 within a week or two. So you can see the demand's there. And that's the critical part about what we're doing. When you have the high demand and you have very limited supply, price goes to the moon. And so we're kind of getting away from COMEX with the derivatives pricing it, because these people, to get the price down, you got to short it. And if you short it, you're kind of fucked, because if there's too much demand, the price is not going to come down for you to make money on your shorts. Why these people are into this paper is beyond me. These are just idiots. These are idiots who don't know. Well, Joe makes money on these options, so I'm going to do it. And no, just buy physical, morons. Just that's all you need to do is buy your physical and off you go. But they won't do that. Anyway, that's about it. I'm hungry. So have a good day. Just you're not really trying to sell your gold and silver to get back into the dollar. If you need to sell an ounce or so because you need extra money to eat or pay a bill, that's perfectly understandable. But that's all. You want to be very careful, because the $93 silver today is $500 silver in a month. And you got to be careful. Well, at least 200 in a month. So you got to be careful, because you don't want to lose $200 or $100 because you sold for what? I mean, just to get back into this is not a real reason to sell. Anyway, that's about it. So Jenna's in Berlin now, where it's freezing. She's showing me she has to learn German because they want you to be citizens. You need to know German, which I think is very good. And she'll do that. And she's living with her friend. So she's getting out of the war finally. So we'll see. And that's about it. D, I haven't heard from in a few days. I always get a little bit like, what the fuck? Where are you? So she's been good at it though lately. So I'm kind of surprised. But my other friend also lives in Russia. Did hit me up on Telegram. You can't use WhatsApp anymore. So she hit me. So I know Telegram's working and the internet's working. So I'm surprised she hasn't hit me up on it. But we'll see. It's always I'm used to Daria doing that. Before I used to worry, not anymore. All right. Well, have a good day. Again, enjoy the Rams Seattle game. It'll be a good one, and it'll be points. And again, I figure it out as 47 goes down to 41, which means we need 24-20. Not a problem. In the New England game, we need 35.5. Probably not a problem. New England can score. Denver's defense is in there, but Denver will score, even though it's Stidham. It's not. He's not Jared Goff, so I think they'll be fine. All right, www.teaserking.com. I'll talk to you tomorrow. If you need me, email me. You get it on Teaserking on the homepage, my email. Otherwise, take care. Enjoy your day. It's so fucking cold out. I do not want to go out. I'm just going to go to the pool, and I got to go get Alyssa, so I'll be in the car. At least it'll be warm. All right. Take care, everybody.